and welcome to the podcast So Casted. I am your host, Tara Lockett. Today's topic, learning versus gender. Now remember, we're going to go over a little bit of information when it comes to this, and I just kind of want to bring awareness out there. But before we get into that, I just want to remind you of mental health awareness. I am a mental health advocate, and therefore I want people to realize and know that although we walk around physically free, mentally there are some things that trouble our minds. So we must show kindness to other people to help them get through that day, right? And so today, learning versus gender. But before I do that, I have a love note to bring to you from Miss Royalty, and it states, "Foundations that are built without wisdom and understanding will fall. However, foundations can be rebuilt with wisdom and understanding and stand a lifetime." And so, in all our getting, we must get wisdom and understanding, because at the end of the day, the traumas that we've gone through in our lives, and that's what So Casted is about. It's about healing minds, freeing hearts, and activating change. Well, those traumas come with a lot of things that we have to go back and rebuild, and there's nothing wrong with it at all. And so, learning versus gender, for me, I just want to talk a little bit about it. We have been taught throughout society about boys versus girls, and scientifically, it's been proven that girls learn faster than boys. But who's comparing, right? Mental crossroads is where old programming meets new truth. And that's where we are, I feel like, in our society. We're at a crossroad mentally. But the truth is, it's not just men that are at crossroads. No, it's also women that are at crossroads. There's boys that are at crossroads, and there's girls at crossroads. So learning versus gender, right? Understand and know that we are human, the male human and the female human. And the truth is, everything that we need is already in us to succeed and overcome those traumas of our past. Learning versus gender really is about healing. And in order for us to heal, we have to understand that process, and in igniting the flame in all those black souls. And yes, we have a lot of dark souls out there, because if anyone is searching for truth the way I was searching for truth, I just didn't quit. Even in my older age, I could have quit because of my physical age from my birth. But the mental age, that mental age was not where it needed. It didn't match the birth age. And so igniting that flame is important for us to get on the right path in learning and understanding gender. You know, it's not for us to hate one another. It's for us to motivate, encourage, and love one another. There are three things that it takes, and I have said it before, but I want to reiterate it now. We must confront our past. That is for the male and for the female. We must live in the now, male and female. And then the one I like the most, that is reparenting ourselves, and then understanding that it is okay to reparent ourselves. So often we're told that we have to be stuck with the traumas of our past. That's not true. You know, I've heard it so much in life. Well, this is who I am. This is how it's going to be. No, you are believing that untruth of the trauma. See, when we're developed through trauma, we're developed through the lies of trauma, which is why it should be okay to reparent yourself. Now, I want to share a little story with you about learning versus gender. And it goes back to when I was in high school. One of the things that was difficult, that I had difficulty processing, and was, how is it that men, the boys got more privileges in terms of like the gym. We had to get up early in the morning to practice basketball. We had to be at the gym, at 5 o'clock in the morning to get the practice that we need to prepare for our games. And so it was interesting to me that the boys had the gym on the, from PE, the sixth period, all the way to the evening. And I thought, wow, that's so unfair. But what was interesting to me now, here's the learning part that comes in. In that time, and back in that time, they thought that it was okay that if you were an athlete who were very talented, learning was, you give it a try, but if you fail, we're going to pass you anyway because you're athletic, because you're great at what you do, and you represent our school, and we get to win. And I thought that's unfair to that person because you're passing someone who hasn't learned anything on that level, but because he has a talent that brings all the excitement and joy to our school, hey, we'll pass him and he'll get to play. That was unfair, and we had to see that and endure that during that time frame in my life. And I honestly, as you can see, I'm sharing this story today. So yes, it did have an effect on me, but it also made me think about, where those mental crossroads, meet the old programming. And we really, really, really have to stop and look at what we're doing. Whether you're male or female, you are important because you are the highest form of nature. Please understand that we must confront our past. We must live in our now, and that is a challenge. I know I practice it every day. Sometimes I'm great at it, sometimes I fail. But reparenting myself, I've given myself permission to write those goals down and to make that list of what I need to improve in and be better at. Remember, the main thing is to evolve and become a better human, and there's nothing wrong with effort in that. So, Casted, because your mind matters and is the vision of the future, imagine great.